just gonna flat out say the like him blowing all over Jessica Lange to dry her off from her swim. That seems so ridiculous.
Drive-by movies here, and you're watching Direct to Dumpster. My name is Blaze.
And I'm James.
This week, we're talking King Kong 1976, directed by John Gearman, starring Jessica Lange, Jeff Bridges, and Charles Grodin.
King Kong. So I always felt like this King Kong, reason why we're bringing it up, we're not saying it's a bad movie, like as we keep saying on Direct to Dumpster, but this is the one that no one really talks about or remembers yet. It was a huge hit in the 70s, though.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, if you look at it by today's standard, it was still made for $25 million. It grossed like 50, 60 million or so, but it was still considered a huge financial success. But everyone still remembers Peter Jackson's King Kong still, because that's the last like live action remake we got of it.
Yeah.
Everyone will always remember the 1933 one, but then now more recently we're getting Kong, King of Skull Island. Now this year we're gonna get Godzilla versus King Kong. You know.
And it's something cool to kind of look back, because I feel like this one's just totally forgotten. Like, people don't really think about this King Kong. Like you'd mentioned, they're thinking of all the other iterations, but I actually really enjoy this one.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool social commentary. It's really long, I don't know why every single King Kong movie has to be longer than the previous one. Like the original is like a solid 75, 80 minutes. Then we had to go 2 hours and 15 minutes with this one. And Peter Jackson's like, no, I got to go 3 hours with mine. And then the extended version's like 4 hours long. And just like, but what's it called? This one's still very solid. There's some cringy moments, but like just gonna flat out say the like him blowing all over Jessica Lange to dry her off from her swim. That seems so ridiculous. But the music, though, is so great in this one. I think that's something that a lot of people forget about this one. The music is really great on this movie.
Yeah. I think the other thing for me, besides just the music being good and the story, I like that it spends a lot of time on the island before and the inhabitants of the island. There's some weird kind of scenes that didn't age well, but they have cool Ray Harryhausen effects with like King Kong fighting the snakes and whatnot. But I just love like the look and everything about the look of the movie. I think that it's just shot beautifully. The film grain, like the one we watched on Amazon Prime, like it was just, I thought it was a really good restoration. Yeah. Like it was in HD, full HD, and it looked amazing.
I didn't know that I would need this movie on Blu-ray, but I kind of want it. But it's fun fact about the movie. I mean, the poster I always felt was iconic. It's so cool. It's King Kong, but he's on top of the World Trade Center, the two Twin Towers, but all those copies have been recalled though. So if you buy it on DVD or Blu-ray, you have to buy this new version with Jessica Lange and King Kong's face on there, just because out of respect for September 11th.
Yeah. Mentioning Jessica Lange though, I think something that's interesting. This is her feature film debut. It's a big role. And it's funny because Meryl Streep was originally going to be cast, but I guess Dino De Laurentiis, the producer, thought she was too ugly. So then we got Jessica Lange's feature film debut.
And funny also, I was reading up on that. Yeah, I guess Meryl Streep knows Italian also, and like knew that she was called ugly right with her right there in the room.
Yeah, I love that little like trivia.
Yeah, fun little story.
Yeah, something else that I think was fun is like, I think that the effects, like creature effects, especially for Kong, I think they're actually really entertaining. Like, I don't think they're the best. Sometimes you have like Rick Baker in the suit and like with all the close-ups, I don't think that they're the best, but like I can respect the artistry that went into, making this film all about Kong before like, something like Peter Jackson's King Kong or Kong Skull Island, that they could do the full creature in CGI. Whether it looks bad or good is less the point. Back then they couldn't really create, a whole epic monster. So sometimes there's just like a foot of Kong or a giant mechanical arm of Kong. Right. And it's really interesting to see how they told that story with having limited, resources.
Yeah. It's insane though also that this movie also built like 1,000-pound hands, like just for some of the close-ups and stuff. Like, and I know that Jessica Lange got injured with some of the robot effects and stuff. It's just absolutely insane. It does translate pretty well. I mean, a lot of people will mark this off as the cheesiest just because it's a guy in a costume, but it's there. It feels very real. And some of the like facial features, like when he's smiling, are just they're not cringy. It's just laughable at times. But it felt like he's actually there. He does feel like a beast. And then some of the like blue green screen shots, like you can tell, like look a little dorky. Those don't translate as well. But I'd say it aged probably like. This is probably my favorite looking Kong over the original and even Peter Jackson's. Peter Jackson went straight up for gorilla, which I liked. It's the only time where King Kong's actually using his fists to walk. But the effects they looked great at the time. But if you look at it now, that Brachiosaurus chasing is so like dorky and hard to watch, I feel like.
Yeah, I haven't really rewatched that recently, but I mean, you're one of your favorite movies is the original King Kong, same as Peter Jackson. So, I mean,
I do love that one. Don't get me wrong, but just like it has some of the effects haven't aged well. Where this, like 40 years later, still look really good in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of the look of King Kong. Like I love everything about him in this movie, but I'm just not a fan of the facial design.
Okay.
Like he doesn't really look ape-like to me. It's very like kind of like his face is like triangle shaped almost. I just don't like that look of it.
Better than King Kong versus Godzilla version though. The Japanese one, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's horrifying to look at. He looks so creepy.
Seen that one, so I'll have to do my homework there.
But yeah, and then like I just like the acting in this, like what movies I feel like forget about in these like big action set piece adventure movies that we got today is you need character development, and you get like 45 minutes. I think it takes an hour for King Kong to show up, but 45 minutes of it is just great character development between all the characters. Like you really grow to like Jeff Bridges' character. Maybe it's just the look, but just like it was fun watching him. It reminded me of Kurt Russell in The Thing, and he's just like a cool guy that you just trust and stuff. And like I love how everyone's like, get out of here, you hippie and stuff.
And he's somebody that you definitely can appreciate all the time you spend with him in the film before King Kong even shows up. Like you showed up for King Kong, but then you're like, I'll take Jeff Bridges for a good 45 minutes before.
Yeah. And then, like, I also like his character never like does anything out of character. I felt like Adrian Brody, like he's a writer and then he becomes this action Indiana Jones hero. But this, he always says first and foremost, his work is what's most important to him. He does start to develop these feelings for, well, first of all, I don't know why they changed the character's name from Anne to Dwan in this. Dwan is such a weird name. That's such a weird scene, like D-W-A-N. I switched the letters so it's more memorable. But there's something just likable about Jessica Lange in this movie. I don't know if it's just because of like how pretty it is, but she's just like, she was born to be a star in this movie.
100%.
But that seems kind of cringy, but funny and great at the same time. But just their character development's great and you want them to be together. But at the end of the movie, it's just like, she's a star. I'm not there for her. And he just lets her, be surrounded by the paparazzi. It's a dark ending. Yeah. And actually it does hit hard. Like it's such a great ending that she wants Kong to live, and Peter Jackson brought that in with his remake, because the original one, Anne was just like, oh, kill this ape and stuff.
Yeah, I think this film sadly is kind of forgotten. I mean, it's obviously, it's not the best iteration of Kong. I think everyone knows that, the best iteration of Kong is probably that first run. Yeah. And being that we're getting these more King Kong movies that come out that are just worse and worse, it makes me actually look fondly upon this one. Yeah, the one that no one talks about and shouldn't be forgotten. There's some dorkiness, but there's a lot to like about this movie. The score, cinematography, and great acting decisions and choices that they went with. Until the sequel came out with Linda Hamilton. Wait, there's a sequel to the King Kong Lives. That is definitely a movie we're going to bring on to Direct to Dumpster. I didn't even know there was. I thought that this was it. So we might Same director as this one, but it goes very far beyond to where you would expect. But that is going to conclude this week's episode of Direct to Dumpster. Thanks so much for checking us out. Best way to help us out is by watching King Kong itself on our Amazon affiliate link in the description box below. Go watch the movie and come back and comment and let us know what you thought of it. Also, click the subscription button to keep up to date with Drive-By Movies. Click that notification bell. Thanks so much. That's going to conclude this week's episode of Direct to Dumpster. Tune in next week for another new episode.